All right. So let's go through these together now. So again, for time consideration, I'll just do the quadratic formula ones. I mean, the factoring, that should be pretty straightforward. I mean, so I'm going to post solutions anyway to these. So, all right. But I mean, this said solve by factoring should have been the quadratic formula. Originally, I was going to have everyone solve it by factoring, but that was taking way longer than I expected when I went through this. So we'll just do the quadratic formula. Again, notice that this is not in the standard form, right? This quadratic equation. No, but again, we can easily fix that. What do? We can subtract 16 from both sides, right? Remember, you want to get the right-hand side equal to 0, and that's what I'm doing here. So I'm subtracting 16 from both sides. Doing so, we have 3x squared minus 8 times x minus 16 equal to 0. Now we're ready to use the quadratic formula. So let's do that. Okay, so we have A. Again, we need our A, B, and C. So we have our A is 3, as you can see. We have our B is minus 8, as you can also see. We also have C is minus 16, as you can see as well. Again, A is the leading coefficient, the coefficient of x squared. B is minus 8, coefficient of x. C is the coefficient of, C is the constant term, excuse me. So in this case, it's minus 16. And so let's use the formula. We have minus 8 plus or minus the square root of minus 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times minus 16. We have that over 2 times 3. Right, so again, I'm just plugging it into the quadratic formula. So minus becomes a plus. Minus 8 squared is equal to 64. Minus 4 times 3 times minus 16. Here we actually get minus 192. And 2 times 3 is 6. Remember, you're always subtracting here. Here, however, we have minus a negative, which is why this becomes addition. So you have 64 plus 192 in the radicand. In the square, you're taking the square root of that. So we get 8 plus or minus the square root of 256 over 6. Which is, of course, equal to 8 plus or minus 16 over 6. That's what we get. Good. And so from here, we get our two solutions, right? One of them is when we have addition. The other is when we have subtraction. Addition, 8 plus 16 over 6, which is 24 over 6, which is 4. Here, we have 8 minus 16 over 6, which is minus 8 over 16, which is minus 4/3. So those are our two solutions. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Same idea, right? Here it's nice, it's already in standard form. So we have 2 is A, minus 3, that's B. C we have is minus 5, and that's equal to 0. Okay, that's good. So X then we have is minus B, right? Again, this is the formula. So we have minus 3, that's 3. Plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times A is 2 times C is minus 5. Again, we have subtraction here, which is what should happen. But because of this extra negative here, we get addition. So it's 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 40 over 4. So we have this. But 49 is a perfect square, right? The square root of 49 is 7. So we get 3 plus or minus 7 over 4. From here, we get 3 plus 7 over 4, 10 over 4, which is 5 halves. From here, we have 3 minus 7 over 4, right? So again, one solution came from addition. The other is subtraction. 3 minus 7 over 4, minus 4 over 4, which is minus 1. So that's what we get. Okay, good. Are there any questions on this one? Okay, so here's this one. So this one we have 9x squared is 7x plus 4. But again, this is not in standard form, right? We want the right-hand side equal to 0. So what I'm going to do is bring 7x plus 4 to the other side by subtracting, right? That's what I'm doing here. And so we get 9x squared minus, minus 7x minus 4 is 0. Okay, now, we're using a quadratic formula. This looks kind of nasty to factor, but a would be 9, okay? Right? We would have negative 7, that's our b, and negative 4 is our c, okay? So we go down to the formula, negative 7, negative b, which is negative 7, plus or minus the square root of minus 7 squared, minus 4 times 9 times minus 4 over 2 times 9. And so from here, we get 7 plus or minus the square root of 49, right? Minus negative, so it's going to be plus 144 over 18, which is this. And the two solutions then are 7 plus the square root of 193 over 18, 7 minus the square root of 193 over 18. It turns out 193 is prime, meaning its only factors are 1 and itself. And 193, you know, that's not a perfect square, so you can leave it alone. I mean, something like this, I would just say I would say on an exam, you don't have to simplify it. Because I know determining the factors of something like 193 on an exam would be kind of tricky. So it's not terrible, but, you know, it's the point of the problem, I think. Any questions on this? Okay, so we're out of time.